Rapunzel. Well, you can see her hair glow in the dark. Do you see the light go on? And then she has like a friend named Pascal who hides in the fireplace. He's a chameleon. Yeah, this is her kitchen. She has 2 cups hanging on the rack, and then 2 plates on her table, and a stove.
It wasn't till about 4 years old, we were talking about God, and she said, I don't think God is so great because God made a mistake when he made me. And shortly thereafter, she talked about cutting off her penis, and that concerned me a lot. We started to realize this is not just a child who's gay. My gay friends said, well, I dabbled, I tried on my mom's nylons, but, I still thought like a boy. I still was a boy and was aware of being a boy. Danann had started to identify herself as a girl, and if you called her a boy, she would get very angry.
If these children are not permitted to be what they are, or be what they really are, that the outcome is something I didn't want to think about.
Like it, Daddy?
Yeah, sweetie. I have a little girl that needs to be a little girl.
So there was like this thing that I wanted to talk to you about because you brought up something the other day when we were, Okay, you know how we're like part of the LGBT and, well, I'm more like a T than an L or a B. Yeah. And I know you're more bi than anything.
Yeah, I'm queer. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm more like transgendered. I was like looking at YouTube videos online, and there was this guy. Well, he was born in a female body.
Okay.
And I don't know, like I was looking at this and I was just like, wow, like I feel like exactly the same that this dude is like talking about. And I've never like ever heard anybody else describe those same feelings. I just thought that, I don't know, I just thought I was weird or like, I'm just trying to like let you know that I might not be who you think I am or what people see me as, and I'm gonna change, I'm not gonna.
You are who you are, and I like that. And you're gonna change, and I'm still gonna like you. I love you. So.
I was probably somewhere 8, 10, 12 years old and would go into my mother's room when she was at bridge club or out of the house and dress in her clothes.
As soon as they cleared the driveway, I was up into my mom's cosmetics in the bathroom, or I was in her dresser rooting around trying to find something that made me feel better about myself.
And I could look in the mirror and I could see a woman.
I felt different. I felt good. They made me feel things that I hadn't felt before.
It just felt natural. It felt that's what I should be.
And I thought that someone knew.
And I just knew that this would probably destroy me.
What you don't know, you fear. And the fear grows inside your head and you build the worst case scenario you can ever come up with.
I just felt extremely intimidated and buried it because of that. So I did not feel that this would ever be a path I could follow.
I came out as Pam 20 years into a marriage, a very happy marriage, as a matter of fact. I married a woman that I did love, and we had 3 great kids together.
Being a woman was the most important thing deep down inside, and I buried it. I buried it so deep and hard. And then my second wife, sometime in 2007, she discovered an article of clothing in my home office. And I was on a business trip and I called her up and said, "How are things going?" And she said, "Well, I found these in your office and they're not mine. I was wondering whose they were."
All through the marriage and even before, I kept repressing these urges I had as much as I could. But the same pattern continued into my marriage. I would find reasons to be home alone, and instead of into my mother's things, I'd be into my wife's things.
And I said, "They're mine." And with that, it all started.
I'd been home alone, and I dressed as Pam, and I decided it was time to share it with her, not the kids, just her. And I let her come home and see me dressed.
And I said, "I want to be a woman." And that took her breath away.
It was absolute disaster. She had nothing complimentary to say about Pam. Only stared at Pam for a brief moment before she went in the other room and insisted that the guy she knew and loved came back into her life and that Pam went away.
She said, she said, "I don't know what to say, but I certainly don't want to be in your way. If you need to discover who you are, I want you to do that. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be very, very difficult for me, but I can't stop you. You need to be yourself." And that began my journey.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to just start out by asking you all a few questions to get a sense of what survival and resilience we each of us bring into the room. The first question is I want to ask if you could raise your hands if someone you know, including yourself, has ever experienced abuse or violence in a relationship. Let's take a look around. Thanks. The second question is I want you to raise your hands if you or someone you know has ever been attacked or harassed for being trans or gender nonconforming. Take a look around. The third question I want to ask is if you could raise your hand if someone you know or you has ever been sexually assaulted or experienced any kind of sexual violence. Please take a look around. My next question is I want to ask if you or someone you know has ever been profiled, attacked, or harassed by police or ICE. Take a look around. I want to ask if you or someone you know has ever been incarcerated. Please raise your hand. Take a look around. I want to ask if you or someone you know has ever struggled to have stable housing. Take a look around. I want to ask if you or someone you know has ever struggled to have stable health care or employment. Take a look around.
All of us deserve to live and work and thrive in this world and have our basic dignity protected, right?
And when these things happen, no one intervenes. It's just okay to treat trans people as disposable.